Hey guys, and welcome to this edition of Scruff's Garage. So today in the garage I have my 2017 Honda CRF250L. Lately I've been doing a lot of single track riding through the woods, and I've seen the potential for a branch or down limbs, something pointy to pop up and poke through my radiator, which would be obviously a bummer for the day. So I finally decided that I'm going to add a radiator guard to this. So the most popular brand for the radiator guard seems to be a company called Flatland Racing. Those go for like 70, 80 bucks, something like that. This one is a no-name brand off of Amazon. I think I paid $30 for it. I'll leave a link to this in the episode notes if you want to take a look at it. But from what I can tell, I think it's pretty much just a straight knockoff of the Flatland Racing version. So I'm going to give this a try. Let's see how well it installs, if I have any hiccups or anything of that nature. One of the first questions people ask about this, what's it made of? The ad says it's made of aluminum. I can tell you, right, so here's a magnet, handlebars, magnetic. This is aluminum. So it weighs almost nothing, right? So you're not adding a ton of weight to the front of the bike. A couple of benefits to this. So obviously I mentioned the down branches, anything that could poke up, or if you're out in the desert, you know, rocks, stuff like that could kick up and potentially damage the radiator. So that's what this side does for you. The other potential benefit is some crush strength. So I've dropped the bike a number of times off-road, and you never quite know what the bike's going to fall over on. Obviously terrain varies, but if you drop the bike and something impacted the radiator from this side, could damage the radiator that way as well. So I'm hoping this will provide some crush strength, give it some rigidity, so that if I do drop the bike on this side and it hits a rock or whatever it is, that it protects the radiator and helps keep it from crushing if I dropped it hard enough. So that's the goal, and I think for 30 bucks it'll do what I want it to do. So installation on this is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to talk through that portion of the video, but I will let it record and maybe just do like a high-speed kind of thing. But we're going to take the seat off and the fairings off. That way we can get to the radiator, and then there are a couple of bolts for mounting this. I'll show you that piece of it, but this really shouldn't take very long at all. So let's get started. So they provide longer mounting bolts because now you've got the thickness of this bracket. So you take out the stock 10 millimeter bolt, and they provide some Allen head bolts. You will need an extension to get in there and tighten it. Then that bolt there will go back on when we put the fairing back in place. So you can see there's some space there, so mud and stuff doesn't get packed in there. Also allows you room to be able to get in there and tighten the bolts. Another look at it from this side. One other thing I'll mention, so I still have the stock gas tank, but I've read that with the majority of these, if you go to an aftermarket larger gas tank, that you may have to modify this bracket some, which at some point I may do, is to go to a larger gas tank, but I just haven't gotten around to that. But if I do, like I said, this is aluminum, so it's easy to modify. I don't think it should be a big deal. So now it's just a matter of putting this back together. So for this lower bolt to line up, like I can push it into place, but when I do, I can see that this little piece of plastic here on the inside of the fairing hits the bracket just a little bit. So I think I'm going to pop this back off and just trim that little piece of plastic just a bit. It's not going to affect anything, and I think this will fit just a little bit flusher, and I'm going to be happier with that. So I'm going to pop this off and take care of that. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that will focus, but you can see where I trimmed that back just a little bit. The fairing's just made of plastic, so it cuts very easily with a sharp razor blade, and that gave all the clearance needed for that to fit. And then the rest of it went back together just as you would expect. Right, you can see just a bit of the radiator guard through there, but otherwise really no more noticeable, oh, here we go, than the stock plastic louvers. And they're just held in by the little push pins, so that comes out very easily. So there you go. I hope that helps. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask in the comments below. I'll answer any questions that I can. And as always, thanks for tuning in to this edition of Scruff's Garage.